Alright, so in this video I run around and I'm pretty much getting a bunch of iron, getting ready to make a bunch of super beacons. From there, I've stumbled myself into an ancient city. I've never found one before, and this is the first time in all my years of playing Minecraft where I've been humbled. Someone made me feel like I wasn't a god. But besides that, we're just gonna read a bunch of Reddit relationship type stories. So without further ado, if you're first time here, please like, subscribe. Thank you for being here. With that out the way, let's get into the video. The first story. Am I the a-hole? For walking out on a blind date my friend set up 2 weeks after my husband died. Advice needed. I just really need some clarity on this situation. I, 23-year-old female, lost my husband, 25, male, weeks ago in a car accident. He was the love of my life, and I'm still not used to waking up without him every day. We have big plans for our future, and it all came crashing down in a heartbeat. We met on his uncle's farm. He was a farmhand, and it was love at first sight for me. I'm also 4 months pregnant, but I haven't told anyone. I was planning on telling my friend when I was feeling better. My best friend Leah, 24, female, has been on my shoulder to cry on during this time. She helped me with this funeral and anything else I needed, as I'm NC with my bio family for another time. She is currently dating Barry, 24, male. They usually hang out in a trio with Liam, 24, male. When I first met Liam, he hit on me hard, tried everything as in would try and compare himself with my husband, say weird things like our kids would be cuter than if you had kids with my husband. He's also made weird comments like I need a city boy and would motion himself when I'm a country girl through and through. I typically would shut him down or ignore him, but I would always get dirty looks from Barry. Skip to Sunday night, I get a message from Lee, begging me to come to dinner with her because she wanted to treat me as I've been through a lot in the last couple of weeks. Feeling not so shy about myself, I decided to go. When I arrived, she wasn't there, so I texted her asking how long she would be. She told me 5 minutes, she's just running late and around the corner. So I too sat down and ordered a drink. Now 5 minutes comes and she's still not there. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt and waited another 5. When I'm about to call her, Liam comes rushing over and gives his apologies for being late. I asked him what is he doing here because I'm waiting for Leah. It was a 2-chair table. He smiles at me and grabs my hand. I ripped it off of him and he just says, "Oh, I asked Leah, set us up now that my husband's name isn't a problem. We could finally get to know each other." He looked so cringy. I'm telling you, I was floored. I stood up and told him I wasn't interested, and I certainly didn't give a flying F about getting to know him, and that I just lost my husband. Without a word of a lie, this man stands up and said, "I know you're being overly emotional right now, so I'll forgive you for that. Sit down with me." I'm not saying we have to have sex straight away or anything. I was disgusted. I shoved past him and went home as fast as I could. When I get home, Leah messaged me, "So, how was dinner?" with a smirk emoji. I called her, and when she answered, I didn't let her get a word in. I yelled at her and asked her how she has the audacity to do something like this weeks after I lost my husband, when she's been the one to hold me together this whole time. I asked her what effing game is she playing, that the only reason I wanted to meet tonight with her was to tell her I'm pregnant. I just hung up on her, texted her I need time and don't want to be contacted by her for the time being. Last night, Barry came to my house and asked to talk. I said no, and if he didn't leave, I'd call the police. He told me that I broke Leia's heart and that I deeply hurt Liam, when now is even a better time to get to know Liam because he could raise my child with me. I opened the door, which Barry took as I wanted to talk, and said I hit him with my shoes and chased him to his car, screaming. I'm actually embarrassed I did that. All day today I'm flooded with messages from friends in the trio themselves shaming me for pushing the people who care about me the most away, and that they didn't even recognize the person I've become. The only thing that hurts me most is that my husband would know what to do. He would tell me how to fix it, and now I have no one who I can talk. I'm just so numb inside. I have a therapy appointment tomorrow, but I'm thinking of calling my husband's mom, even though we've barely spoken since the funeral. Any advice is appreciated. Please excuse my typos, I'm just exhausted. Edit. I made a new account for this post, as some friends have my main, and I'd rather have some time to grasp this whole thing before I answer any personally. Thank you. End story. I could definitely tell you were frustrated. This was a hard read. But no, absolutely not. This is just one of the situations where the trio of doom, the freaking Team Rocket, just failed to realize this is way too soon. 2 weeks after someone's husband's died, anybody would look at that situation 2 weeks after someone lost their partner and see them on a date and be like, "Oh man, yeah, you really didn't like your past partner. This is way too soon to be going on dates." On top of you don't like this dude, on top of you've never given signs that you like this dude, and the fact that they even dismissed your feelings completely as far as him being dead. Now that so and so isn't a problem anymore, we can be together. And then Leia's boyfriend sitting there and telling you this is a perfect time to get to know him because he's going to help raise the kid now. It's like, I get he's looking out for his boy, but timing is awful. She doesn't even like Liam. 2 weeks is way too soon to be trying to go on dates with somebody. Liam is a child. I never understood. I mean, because that's the thing. Like, he was hitting on you when your husband was alive. And then the fact that he hit on you after he passed, 2 weeks after he passed. No, Liam can't read a room. Liam can't take no for an answer. His feelings are hurt. Their feelings are hurt because you reacted a certain way 2 weeks after losing your husband. Like, they've clearly have never had real relationships, or they've clearly never lost somebody before. I mean, I guess they're on the younger side of things, mid-20s. But yeah, it just signs that they've never lost somebody close to them. Never lost a parent, maybe never lost a grandparent, or at least never lost somebody that was close to them. Because that's world shattering. It's been 2 weeks, you haven't even paid a rent payment or a mortgage payment yet without your husband. On top of you're pregnant, 4 weeks pregnant. And they brushed by that by saying, this guy can raise the kid 2 weeks after your husband died. Absolutely not. You have every right to be upset. Team Rocket needs to do something with their lives. They need to leave you alone for a while. You need to just let them know, leave you alone for a while. It's only been 2 weeks. And you guys are sitting there trying to dictate how my life is going to be after 2 weeks of losing the love of my life. Read a room. The next story. I'm hanging out with a woman who my wife dislikes. If she finds out, she'll leave me. So I'm married, and there's this woman I've met at a bar a few times. My wife doesn't like her. They met once, and my wife felt she was rude and dismissive. She also said it was embarrassing because me and the woman spoke for about 3 hours, and I looked draped all over her while ignoring my wife. That same night, when the woman was leaving to go to an event, I jokingly grabbed her coat and said she couldn't leave. She took it back while laughing and put it on, but stayed for another hour. Normally, I'd think that was flirting, but my wife was there. Last week, I ran into her again. She mentioned she's now open to dating new people, and I got butterflies but ignored it. About 2 hours later, she went to leave to another event, same as the other week, and jokingly I asked if I could go with her. She said yes, and we went together. She introduced me to everyone, and I danced with her and others. We mostly talked to people she's currently dating, and I offered to be her wingman, which she said I'd be doing a lot. Later, we shared a cigarette while it rained. I invited her to another event next week. Nothing physical happened, and I know she's not interested in me romantically. I suppose I see it as this woman has great boundaries, so she never hit on me. A few weeks ago, she was telling me a story about people seeing her naked, and I joked about seeing her naked. She just said, "You're married," then moved on. She even said she's not interested in cheaters the second time we met. The naked joke was a month ago. It was inappropriate. Even the bartender who knows my wife randomly said to her, "You have really good boundaries." A few weeks after I said that, I figured she's over it now. If she let me go to the event, we usually talk about the people she's dating, her sex stories, etc. She's made out with people in front of me and was cuddling with others at the event. I asked if she wants to go to another event, and she said she has plans, but she'll move things around to stop by. Is this proof it's just a platonic, or am I blowing up my marriage for someone who just wants attention? Wish I knew. She told me recently about a date she went on with a guy that ended in her crying in the bathroom. Thanks for the advice for helping me think this through. End story. You question at the end if you're blowing up your marriage for a woman who wants attention when it just seems like you're the one that wants attention. You're the one going out of your way. You're the one inviting yourself to her events. You're the one that keeps putting yourself in front of her. And what is the reason you're doing that for? From the outside looking in, it seems like you want an opportunity to get a crack at something. All these slick jokes you've made, "Don't leave," "I want to see you naked." I feel like you're the one being the pursuer at this moment, and you're not realizing it. On top of, you're doing something wrong because your wife doesn't want you to do it. From personal experience, from lived experience, Anything your wife doesn't want you to do, just don't do it. It just makes your life a lot easier. Would you rather argue about something and something blow up, heavy emotions get involved, or would you rather just let something go and you both just go back to having normal lives, no argument, no upset partner? I feel like a lot of people make things a lot harder than they need to be for themselves, and this is one of those situations. If you don't like this woman, quote unquote, and she doesn't like you, why do you keep inviting yourself to hang out with her? Just drop off the relationship. Who cares? You clearly want this relationship. You clearly want the attention, not her. She's getting the attention from all these people. You're hearing the stories about it. So you clearly want it. So yes, I feel like you're in the wrong, dude. The next story. How do I, 25 female, communicate to my partner, 26 male? He needs a smaller bondom. I've been seeing this guy for a few months. Things are pretty good. I really enjoy our schmicks. We have similar libidos, usually good communication, and he is very giving. The only problem is that we use bondoms and they don't stay on well. He will complain about bondoms and how they all suck. He'll still wear one anyway, because usually about 2/3 into the action, they are slipping and sliding around or coming off inside me. This makes me nervous. We have tried a couple different brands. Frankly, I have used bondoms with other partners and not had the same problem. I think average ones are just slightly too big for him. Ooh. My first idea is to buy a brand that fits a little snugger and just mention that I got a new brand to try without including the size part. I know straightforward communication is usually better, but in my experience, this is an area where men are kind of sensitive, and I don't want to do any damage to his self-esteem through my suggestion. So any recommendations of brands to try or ways to approach this delicately? Thank you. I would just do what you said. I would just get a different brand that's smaller and just not mention it. Just like, hey, let's try this one, and let it be that. You don't have to make it a big deal, because if you tell him that, bro, his ego's gonna get hurt. Unless, I don't know, unless you find like 1% of dude that genuinely doesn't care. Most people want to hear, or most men want to hear, hey, you got that thing on you. So I would just buy a different brand and not say anything. Just let it be what it is. Because if you do that straightforward communication with this topic, most things I feel like people can handle. This one, though, like you said, you be quite sensitive about that topic. And you said average size ones are slightly too big. So that definitely is going to hurt his soul. So I would just buy the new brand. Don't say anything. That's my advice. That one's, ooh, poor dude. I'm sorry. The next story. My boyfriend, male 25, poured a bottle of his urine on me, female 24, after accusing me of wetting his seats. I'm shaken and don't know how to move forward. My boyfriend, male 25, and I, female 24, have been on and off for about 5 years. Right now I'm currently on the road with him because he's a truck driver. A couple days ago, something really upsetting and humiliating happened. There was water on his seat, and he immediately assumed I poured it there. I told him I didn't do it, and that it was probably the dog. But he got really angry. During the argument, he started putting his hands on me. Then he grabbed a bottle he had been using to pee in while driving and poured it on me because he thought I had poured water on his chair. I had someone else's urine on me for hours, and it was honestly one of the most degrading things I've ever experienced. I kept trying to explain that I didn't do anything and that the dog was the one who got the seat wet. After things calmed down, we talked and I made him apologize. He said he overreacted and that he was sorry, but I still feel physically sick about it. I haven't had an appetite since it happened, and my chest has felt tight from stress. The hardest part is that this is the same guy who has treated me badly in the past, which is part of why our relationship has been on and off. I know deep down that someone who really loves me probably wouldn't do something like this, but I'm struggling to understand why I keep going back. For people who have been in unhealthy relationships before, how did you actually break the cycle and leave for good? And how do you process something this humiliating happening in a relationship? End story. For one, you said a relationship has been on and off for years. You said this person has treated you badly before, but for whatever reason you keep coming back. I can't answer the question for you of why you keep coming back to something that's bad for you. That's something you have to figure out on your own. But what I can tell you is once you do cut ties with a thing, just allow time to pass, and then eventually you either can't give you a specific timeline, but eventually you'll let it go. You'll be able to move forward. You'll be able to see the grass is greener on the other side, and that you don't need this person. On top of all things in the world to get hands put on you for and to get pissed on for, a wet seat is not one of those things. This man put his hands on you because he thought you wet his seat. Did he smell the seat? He automatically just assumed it was you after you telling him it's not you. Instead of just being an adult, start putting hands on you, peeing on you, pouring his pee on you. That is a man-child. And you've been on and off for years for a reason. 5 years. Why you keep coming back? Only you can answer that question. I don't see a lot of people putting up with that. I don't see why you put up with that. You just gotta go. You've broken up before, so break up again and block him for good. Just don't come back. No matter how hard he tries or begs or pleads, I can't tell you how to live your life. If he comes back and you feel like he truly is sorry and you're a forgiving person that wants to give him another chance, that's your life to live. I'm not going to argue against that. Because like I said, some people are more forgiving than others. Some people are more tolerable than others. So I'm not going to sit there and damn you for making any decisions. If you have made up in your mind this isn't good for you and you want to leave, just leave, block them, and allow time to pass. Be sad, handle the situation the way you need to, talk to people, look for people to help you out. The situation is just not good for you, so that's my advice. The next story. I'm home with an inconsolable crying baby while her dad is out playing video games with his brother. I love my daughter, but when I signed up for this adventure of raising a child, I was under the impression I wouldn't be doing it alone. I thought that would be the case because I was told explicitly by her father, my partner of 3 years, that he wanted children. He loved kids. He was ecstatic to be a dad and was all in. Fast forward 3 months down the line, I'm living in a rental. My partner lives in a 3-story home with his mom. He spent exactly 1 night with our baby after I delivered. I had complications and had to be rushed to the hospital when a doctor stuck his arm all the way up to his elbow up my hoo-ha to retrieve my placenta, which had decided to adhere itself to me worse than Gorilla Glue. My partner took our baby home and took care of her that 1 night I was recovering. Since then, it's been me and me alone in the thick of it. As I'm sure you're wondering, why isn't he staying with us? Well, he needs to be cozy at home so that he can sleep undisturbed, make his warm tea, watch his shows, eat the food his mommy makes. And he just can't do that with a baby around now, can he? Oh, and God forbid you or your mom call him out on his irresponsibility and selfishness. He'll throw a tantrum that rivals that of a worse, I don't know that word, baby. You guys, come on. He's a growing boy of only 34. He needs his mommy to look after him. He needs to. He just needs his daily rituals. Cut him some slack. How can he possibly function without his binge watching of YouTube videos and his pastries? He will of course justify himself by saying he needs his peace and quiet so he can be up and at them for work the next morning. Another blatant distortion of the truth, for he only got a new, mostly remote job a week ago. Not in October, not in November, when my baby was born. 1 week ago. To say that I hate him is an understatement. I actually hate myself more. I hate myself more for believing in him, for having such a low self-esteem that I felt the first narcissistic, man, these words you're using are, oh my God. Who called me pretty? I'm writing the post for my daughter. I want her to learn from my imbelicity. These words, man, I'm trying. And to not repeat my mistakes. Be careful who you pick to be the father of your children, and remember, an absent parent is better than a shy one, neglectful parent. Edit. Thank you to everyone who's commented and who shared their thoughts, insights, and advice. I want to clarify some points just in case anyone was interested. I met my baby's father abroad in Europe while we were both doing our master's degree. Well, there you go. That explains the words. Neither of us is from Europe. We lived there together for several years before we decided to move back to his home country. Rent was getting too expensive and he was struggling to find a job. Very shortly after moving, I found out I was pregnant. I left to my home country to have access to healthcare and to be with my family. 6 months into said pregnancy, he invited me back to his country and his familial home. Insisted it would be better for the baby. I agreed. And 10 days into being there, his mom began abusing me emotionally and psychologically, left, right, and center. Kicked me out when I was 36 weeks. So around 8 months. So I ended up in a rental apartment. Learn from me, kids. Before you commit to someone for life, meet their parents first. End story. That's a crazy one. I'm sorry that's happened to you. How old is this? 8 hours ago. This is one of those situations where sometimes I feel like my life is really hard, but then I read stuff like this or I hear stories. I'm like, damn, my life is pretty decent. I'm happy to be with a person that doesn't make my life hell. I'm happy to be with a person that I don't hate. So count your blessings, people. If you're in good relationships, if you have good co-parenting, count that as a blessing, because there's situations like this where this dude is literally just an entire man baby that's not taking any responsibility for, the dance he decided to partake in. A lot of the comments below are just telling you to break up with him and establish child support, which I don't know where you're staying. I don't know how those things work. I don't ever plan to be in that realm of life. You obviously can't stay with him, especially at this point. You hate him. Unless he can really muster up the courage to finally change his ways, which off of everything that you said doesn't seem too likely, you gotta, just drop him off. Like you said, an absent parent is better than a neglectful one. So, or just give it one last hoorah, sit him down, read him a letter that you wrote, so it's like in writing and you can read it to him, and just lay out everything, how you feel, how he's making you feel, how this whole situation is making you feel. Make him realize the consequences or the relationship he's gonna end up having with his daughter if he doesn't start picking up his slack and start actually being a family man. Because you never really went into detail whether or not you guys are still together, as far as like you guys have a relationship. It just seems like you guys just don't live together. You didn't explicitly say you're not together. I'm assuming you're not, just off the circumstances, but you never said explicitly you're not together. But I would just let him know, hey, because of your actions, I feel this way. Because of your actions, you're going to have this relationship with your daughter. Do you not care about your daughter? Do you not care? Do you not care? Do you remember when you said this? Do you remember when you said that? This person's here now. This person needs you. Make him understand that. And it like I said, that's the last thing you could do before leaving and put him on child support. That's just a really sucky situation to be in. And again, I'm sorry that you and your daughter are going through that. Stuck in a rental while he has everything he needs. On top of the mom, because I've heard this term a lot as far as like boy moms, that like the mothers that just excuse their son's behavior, the moms that are so attached to their sons that like if they were young they would try to be with them, like the weird mentally ill type of moms who just defend their sons no matter what. Because there's a difference between your son did something wrong and you console him and you let him know he did something wrong, and then there's the moms that their son does something wrong and you excuse the behavior and make excuses for him. There's two types of moms. One is more loving than the other. You protecting your child from danger, protecting your child with excuses, isn't going to make them a better person. It's going to make them a brat, a forever big 34-year-old man brat. So yeah, the mom effed up the whole thing. Really, everything falls on the mom. It's the mom's fault. Everything is his mom's fault. Excusing this man-child's behavior, making it seem like it's okay that he's not in his granddaughter or her granddaughter's life. He's only spent one day with the baby, and that was literally because you were incapable of watching the baby. Seems like it's kind of cut and dry. Good luck to you. Good luck to your baby. I hope things work out. The best case scenario, I hope he steps up. Worst case scenario, you have to abandon him. Good luck. The next story. I lost my aberration pills and now I'm just someone's wife and mom. Throwaway because the people have found me from my actual account, and because this is about a topic I've never told anyone about, not even my husband. I found out I was pregnant 2 years ago despite using protection. My boyfriend and I had been together for a year at that point, but when I took the pregnancy test, he was on vacation abroad with his family, so I found out I was pregnant alone. We were working decent careers and I knew we would be okay financially, but I just didn't see myself as a mom at all. All I want was to keep moving up in my career and get a postgraduate degree and maybe go abroad for work. I thought about my options and aberration was the clearest choice, at least to me. Now I know I was an asshole for not telling him, but I felt like I had no choice. See, I live in a country where aberration is not legal. So I had to get some medicine from elsewhere. My plan was to take the pills and make it like nothing happened. So I ordered the pills, got them a few weeks later, and took leave from my job to take them. On the day I was going to take them, I swear to God, the pills weren't where I left them. I don't know if it was divine intervention or something. I looked everywhere. I lived in a tiny condo. It couldn't have gone anywhere. But I didn't find them. Panicking, I tried ordering again, but realized that because of shipping, the new pills will come way after the allowable period to abort. After a few days of tears, praying I would miscarry, not looking both ways when I crossed the street, I finally told my boyfriend, and he was so happy I felt immediately guilty. In the next few months, we got married and I had our daughter, and she looked so adorable and was such a tiny pink baby that I looked at her when they put her on my chest and I thought maybe things will be okay. But it's been a while. The baby's growing up and babbling and learning to walk and stuff, and I still do not feel strongly for her. She's great and I will do anything I can to protect her, but I don't know if I feel real love towards her. The worst part is, I haven't gotten back to work. My now husband and I agreed that we'll both work because we have support ready here. But because I took a long break off, and because most jobs aren't flexible enough for women with a family, I haven't gotten any interviews. So now when my husband's out at work, I just sit here with my daughter, go through the motion to take care of her like a good parent would, and feel empty because I would rather sit in my old cubicle at my old office sending emails than wrestling with a child who won't lay still enough for me to put a new diaper on her. I thought by now I would be a woman in top management, being all boss lady and stuff, but instead I'm just someone's wife and someone's mom. To this day, I still don't know where the pills disappeared to. End story. You're still worried about the pills. Man, it's one of those situations where things didn't go your way, but you gotta step up and deal with the consequences. Like you said, you may not feel strongly for her, but at the end of the day, you're gonna take care of her. You're gonna be a wife. You're gonna do the things you need to do, even though you want to be doing something else. So even though it sounds awful on paper, it's still commendable to a degree, if you get what I'm saying. Because you could just take the easy way out and be like, I don't feel like doing this at all, blame yourself. But at least you're doing everything you need to be doing with the consequences of you guys' actions. But it really does feel like you really wish it was the other way around, and it's just life. That sucks. You didn't get what you wanted, and now you have to live a life you didn't plan on living. So I'm not going to sit there and dog you for being that, because a lot of people will probably read this story and be like, sucks to suck, and just kind of call it a day. But I get where she's coming from. I get what she's saying. She didn't want this life, but now this life is now hers. So now she just feels like she's just someone's wife and just someone's mom. So I remember, around the time that my son was born, I was listening, for whatever reason, a bunch of famous people, not even famous people, but people that I like or listen to as far as podcasts on my work and stuff, were having babies at the same time, and everyone was always giving me their experience of how it was the greatest day of their life and how they felt this way, and over the joy in the moon they saw the baby and it was over. That's all their life was. And when it came to me, I was like, man, I didn't feel none of that. I was scared. Not scared, I was just kind of pre-stressing about life. Like, how am I about to make this guy's life good? When I came out, it wasn't joy. I was happy that he was there. I was happy that the baby was that he was delivered, and I was happy my wife was okay. But like I said, just pre-stressing about life. How am I going to make sure we're straight? How am I going to make sure he has a better life than me? Because that was my whole, since I was a kid, that was my goal. I want my kids to have a life better than mine. That is the only goal I have in life that I feel like I'm still trying to achieve, which to a degree I have achieved it, but I still feel like I could do better. But what she was saying is true. They just grow, they babble, they walk, and she still feels nothing. You'll do everything you need to do, protect the child, but you just don't feel nothing. And I'm not saying I feel that way about my son, but I get what she's saying. Because like I said, at that moment when he was born, I was like, I don't feel this love that everyone's saying they felt, or this moment, this beautiful moment everyone said they felt. I just pre-stressed about life. But after some time, my son's really cool, he's really funny. I'm not going to say sorry this has happened to you, but all I can say is good luck. Hopefully you find some new meaning in life outside of work. Hopefully that switch flips for your child. Hopefully that switch flips for your life, and you actually can find enjoyment in your life and you're not just going through the motions, feeling empty. And hopefully you can get over the work thing, or hopefully your daughter gets a little bit older and you're able to go back to work, and then, you know, you just had to thug it out for a few years, no work, and then you able to go back to work. So good luck to you. Alright, those are all the stories I have for today, all the ones I've picked out. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it, and I love you. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. It goes a long way. Channel's grown a lot since the beginning. I'm really happy to see it grow. You guys are really making my dreams come true. That's pretty much all I got. Again, thank you for being here. I hope you have a really good rest of your day. Alright, bye.